in our work as educators that no matter what type of program we have, that we utilize it with fidelity. And that is something that has not occurred over the last few years that Ms. Parker can speak to, and several others who have been in the district. While we've had the program, we have not been utilizing it as it is prescribed, and therefore the results were not put in place. So what we're aiming to do, Renaissance Learning is a very well thought of program. A lot of school districts, and quite frankly urban school districts specifically, use it for reading intervention as well as for reading assessment. I too have used it in my capacity as principal at a previous elementary schools, where we were able to see very high results. Again, it's because of the use of fidelity. You have to use it in the way that it was intended to be used, but I'm going to give Ms. Parker, as well as our Renaissance Learning representatives, an opportunity to speak to that as well.
Good afternoon, everyone. We have used Renaissance Learning for quite some time, and looking at the schools that used it to fidelity, we can see an increase in their, we can see a difference in their test scores. The problem was we were not using it to fidelity. We have a plan in motion. The presentation was made to the program specialist. So we have a plan in motion under the direction of Dr. Sullivan, where we will be using the plan, we will be monitoring it, we will be looking at benchmark scores with the plan, with the program. It's accelerated reader, I think it's also something, and star reader. So our plan is to use it to fidelity in our schools. We did not in the past have a definite plan that we were looking at as a curriculum department for those schools. I'm going to offer it to the Patricia Merritt next with Renaissance Learning.
Okay, I just want to say that you have had the program in the past, but it has been on a limited basis as opposed to for all the children in the school district. It was not used with fidelity because you have not had proper training and support in the past few years. We want to create a partnership with Birmingham City Schools so that you will be successful. We have many, many school districts across the country that are using Renaissance Learning products with fidelity and as prescribed by our psychometrists and scientists and all the research that we've done. And I think with the plan that we have in place for your PD, for every single teacher in the district, for ongoing support and follow-ups with principals, reading coaches, the administration. We're even talking about bringing in possibly a senior vice president from our company to do a presentation to the board and to the other administrators as far as a kickoff for this. So I do believe if you proceed with this, you will see the results at the end of this school year.
Ms. Alexander.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
Thank you. In looking at the timeline post-activity that was presented to us in the work session, as well as what's in our packet, you described that the tentative starting date is October 26th. And I guess for me, my concern is the amount of time that we would need to deploy as well as train this particular package to our teachers for it to be effective. And I believe our general concern is the effectiveness of this and how we're going to evaluate and use it and how we're going to monitor the progress. Because if we're saying, what is different about this package than the ones we've had in the past? Because there is the equal concern of where we are today with the test scores and the reading level of our students. So what makes this particular package different?
I add a little bit to that.
Okay.
Excuse me. Part of what makes this package a little different is that we've collaborated on the district level in the curriculum and instruction department to look at the program, to work with the schools, to offer support. We're looking at benchmarks as it relates to their test scores and the continuous improvement plans that all the schools do. So there is a better plan of action at the district level in monitoring the program. In the past, the program was bought schools used it, but there was no district level support in looking at the results.
Thank you. Board members. Ms. Gardner and then Ms. Williams.
You said that there was gonna be ongoing monitoring, with this program. I see that all teachers will be able to access the system on their own time. How is it that you monitor that?
Okay, each school will be assigned a coach, and the coach will, it will be a remote kind of coaching activity, but they will have periodic meetings with the principal and the instructional reading specialist and another support person, 3 top people in each school will have an ongoing conversation with a coach to monitor the data and to make sure that everyone is using everything with fidelity and that the goals are being accomplished that we set out in the beginning. And and there's district level access where we have online dashboards that can be accessed by Ms. Parker or Dr. Chapman or Dr. G to monitor across the district what's going on at a district level, down to the school level, down to the teacher level, down to the student level.
Ms. Williams. And then Mr. Collins.
Okay, thank you. At the work session, we had a lot of the same conversations that we're having now. There was a request for information for the data for the schools that you said were successful. Do we have that data?
I'm sorry, no, I do not have that data, but I'm sorry, I did not have that as a to-do. I thought our to-do was to do a plan for the PD, so we did accomplish that. But
So what's that plan? It's not in here, is it?
It's included.
yes, it is included in there.
In here?
And that's
Yes.
just for the next few months.
Yeah, it is. Because basically, we recommended the PD plan for the teachers to be able to do online activities so they can get small pieces of PD as they need them, and then to have coaching to monitor how that PD is working and how they're implementing the program. We've also got some on-site PD for the principals and the instructional specialists so that they can go back and be the main points of contact at each school.
So am I to understand, what you're saying is October the 26th is
Yes.
the date that it's available for teachers?
Correct.
And then on October the 29th is the date it will be available for principals?
Yes.
And then October the 29th and the 30th, one designee per school?
Well, there's gonna be, we've got it divided up into 4 half-day sessions. So each principal is gonna be invited in addition to the instructional specialists at each one of the schools.
Okay, now I don't wanna make this too, the reason Birmingham City scheduled October 29th or 30th as a teacher's workday was because majority of, a large number of our staff members are not at work that day. So why would we schedule that for a training day?
I scheduled that with Dr. Chapman. Those days can be changed very easily.
So when would it be available for the students what's the beginning date for our contract year?
Okay, the beginning date would be October 1st, but I was gonna have it run until October 31st of next year, since y'all have
Why would
already.
it be October 1st when we had?
Well, because we'll start it in October, but we have to have a starting date. So you aren't really paying for the October. You would pay for October 31st until October 31st next year.
When considering we really wouldn't be able to use it on November 1st, I have a real issue with that date.
You
My-
would actually be able to though, because many of your schools have already been utilizing at least part of this. And so they would just gain the access to the additional pieces that they've all been calling me and asking about for weeks now.
My only concern is we've expended a lot of money for this program for the last 5 years. And it is extremely concerning to me as a decision maker to be sitting here asking for information just to share with us the results over that term. And you are saying it was successful, but you can't provide me the data. That's a missing link.
Actually, this past year, the district did not purchase anything from Renaissance. So this past year, it's only been up to individual schools to purchase their own solutions. And honestly, over the past 2 or 3 years, it was only purchased by the district at a very minimum level. So we didn't have it available for all students. So we can't look at everybody from the gifted to the intervention kids to actually see what kind of growth and achievement they receive.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. I'm going to come back to the board members who have spoken before. I believe we have Mr. Collins. Mr. Collins?
Two quick questions. The first one, you said you said that it would be able to be monitored by Dr. G as well as what will be monitored, the success of the students or the implementation of every school using it? And the second question I have is, do we have expectations? What is the end game? What is the expectation for our students, the outcome that we are anticipating? Is that in a number?
Okay. After you give the first assessment to all your students, you'll get a prediction of how they will perform on the ACT Aspire test.
Okay.
And you'll also get information about what skills they need to be working on to make them ready for the ACT Aspire test. So the districts that use that with Fidelity are able to target the skills that the students need to be working on so that they can, before the fact, look at what needs to be done to make the students ready to do well on the ACT Aspire test. So that is the first thing that's going to be monitored. Okay, the second thing is from Dr. G's level or Dr. Sullivan's. They can actually look at district dashboards. They can see what students have tested, you know, how often they're using the programs, how they're doing on the programs, what kind of growth they're achieving, what their achievement is.
And so, just to follow up, so right now, you said that, I think when you started this conversation, you said that some schools use it successfully.
Yes.
To Fidelity. So, do we not have the data for those schools that can see?
We could look at the schools. I could name you the schools that are using it with Fidelity in your district, but they still have not had all the training on all the latest features of this program. I mean, they're using it. I visited with the school last week, and they are definitely trying to use it with Fidelity, but they are looking for some additional professional development and also the additional pieces of the software that they have not been able to have yet because they can only afford a small part.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Ms. Hendricks?
My question is more from a system perspective than you could probably answer. My main question is, in terms of professional development, since we've been on this board, have spent an exorbitant amount of money on PD. And usually what we hear, not only from you, is that the end user didn't use it to the best of their ability. Which then would lead me to think that we need to do some more restructuring in-house to make sure that our users are using what we pay for. Like again, this is not for you, but even with that, issue, I think we need to make sure before we spend the money that when we do, that we're gonna make sure we're doing the right thing to get it to the children. Because the ACT Aspire test our children take now, and some of that in terms of where your child is and giving you that kind of gauge or range, we kind of get now in some of the stuff that we're doing. But with some of the other things that we've done since I've been on this board, we've spent, and I mean millions sometimes, with some of our PD. And what we don't do is make sure that we've done the right thing on the front end to be able to use it on the back and to make it effective.
And that's the reason we have the 2 on-site days for people from every school to come and get the overview of what's gonna be done. And then we do have a coach for every school that's gonna be conducting data meetings with the principal and the instructional specialist at each school to make sure that they are using it and that they are doing what they're supposed to do to be able to use it with Fidelity. So again, like I said, we want you to be successful. This is all about making Birmingham successful with this program, just like many other school districts are.
Sure, and I believe we want to be successful as well.
Right.
But we want to do it right, and we want to make sure that we're getting the right thing for our money. If we've done this for 5 years, what pieces of what we did before are we adding in that are going to give us this fantastic value of difference?
Okay.
Or what differently do we have to do on our end to be able to make it successful? It's only one of the two.
Right.
So help me get to
Okay.
that part of it so I can make it
So
make sense.
in this new solution that we're recommending to you, you will have 2 versions of Accelerated Reader. You will have not only the independent reading practice, which you have had on a limited basis in the past, but you will also have an instructional reading component, which teaches closed reading to students K through 12. Okay? And I could go into a lot more detail, and if you want me to, I will. And on the STAR side, the assessment side, the students will have access to STAR Early Literacy, STAR Reading, STAR Math, and STAR Custom, which is a product that allows teachers to actually be able to create their own tests. So after they've taught a skill or an objective that has been recommended by STAR, then they can go in and create their own test to do just an interim formative assessment. So in the past, y'all only had STAR Reading and regular AR, and it was, like I said, for just a limited number of students.
Thank you, Ms. Hendricks. I'm gonna let Ms. Brown and Dr. G close us out on this
Okay,
topic.
I'm listening. When we had our work session, it was not brought to our attention that all the schools were not a part of this program. That was not brought out. Dr. Sullivan stated that Phillips was using this program and that it went over well because he was monitoring the program. It was also brought out that the contract expired with us in December.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I've done all of that. Number one, we are just hearing that all of our schools were not involved with this program in the past. I'm trying to figure out now, how could some schools take part in it and other schools did not? I would also like to know, if we have a program, why are we not holding principals accountable for doing their part, since Dr. Sullivan said that he was monitoring Phillips? To me, we would be throwing good money after bad. I've heard everything you said about the program, but my whole concern is the students. If we had a program and the contract ended in December, if this program was very important to our system and our students needed this program, then this should have been brought to us nearing the time that the contract was going to come to an end or expire, instead of just waiting to come now. And now we're in a rushing position to okay a program because you all want to start it in October. I'm trying to clear my mind up, not the board members.
Yes, ma'am, and I can explain that because we were in this discussion last fall. And the people I was in discussion with at that time were all on an interim basis. And at that time, the superintendent, I think, turned in his resignation. And so there was no one to make a decision at the district level to be able to even present it to the board. You know, Sherry can talk about that.
Last year, we did not adopt it as a set aside in our federal dollars. We're paying for this, we are asking to pay for this through our Title I district set asides. We did not do that last year. We had a lot going on. So the reason that only a few schools used it was because they purchased a small package, whatever they could afford, out of their school dollars, their school's Title I. With that, we had a lot of schools to ask about the program. So with the schools calling to ask from Dr. Chapman's office, the Federal Programs Office, to Curriculum Instruction Offices, we met with Renaissance, did a presentation, and we went with a package that we thought would be amenable to all of our schools and all of the children to come out of Title I set-asides off of the top. So last year, we did not purchase a district package from Renaissance. Schools only purchased small packages from the monies that they had in their schools. And that may also attribute to why it was not managed at the district level. It was just managed at the school site level. So this year, in hearing the request of schools and principals and teachers, we've met with Renaissance to bring on this package, and we have developed a plan of action on the district level to monitor the program and to work with the schools so that they won't have to use their Title I dollars to purchase small packages for their schools. That helps it.
Thanks a lot, ladies. You all could, you can have a seat. Dr. G, you close us out on this topic.
Great discussion, board members. And I just want to add a few points that I think are important as we keep these things in mind. I certainly understand the concerns around why the program was not used to Fidelity in the past, as well as why professional learning was not carried through. But we cannot speak to what happened in the past. I can tell you that Renaissance Learning is one of the partners in school districts in this entire state, especially after just coming back from the School Superintendent Association Conference. Renaissance Learning was represented there. It is because it is a program that has a proven success record for helping schools improve student achievement. I have used it firsthand as a principal. This is not a program that you do in absence of a teacher. You know, this is not just about putting a child in front of a computer and expecting the child to be able to do better. It is about the teacher playing a very active role in getting the reports, really looking at what the Lexile scores are, really